Warning, the following content may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
This video tells the story of the Axeman of New Orleans, the jazz demon he claimed to be, the letter he published which I'll read you in the end of this video, and the victims he tormented. His reign of terror began in May of 1918, when he first struck a family of Italian immigrants in the quiet suburb of Gretna. The attack was so brutal that it left 5 members of the family dead, one of which being a baby. The killer had used the victim family's own axe to commit the chilling ruthless murder, and proceeded to discard the weapon at the scene, marking the first of many clues that would be left by the Axeman. Over the next year, the Axeman continued to strike, always in the dead of night while his victims slept. He had a unique modus operandi. The intruder would somehow access the victim's house and very deliberately, make a bloody mess and then leave like a ghost in the night, never taking a thing with him. He targeted mostly Italian immigrants and their families, leading many to believe that the crimes were ethnically motivated. Many media outlets sensationalized this aspect of the crimes, even suggesting mafia involvement despite lack of evidence. Criminologists and crime analysts thought he was a sadist, and some even went as far as to claim that the murders were committed in an attempt to promote jazz music, which will be explained briefly. His methods were varied, and he used whatever weapons he could find at the scene, including knives, ice picks, and even the victim's own tools. Only one thing was constant: he usually killed with an axe, which often belonged to the victim. In each attack, he left behind a trail of destruction and devastation, with multiple victims often found in each home. Despite the efforts of the police, he remained at large and continued to strike at random. The citizens of New Orleans were in a state of panic, with many sleeping with axes and other weapons by their bedsides, hoping to protect themselves from the killer. But the Axeman was always one step ahead, always managing to evade capture, thus he was never caught or identified, and his crime spree stopped as mysteriously as it had started. It wasn't until March of 1919 that the Axeman's reign of terror took a bizarre turn. That month, he allegedly sent a letter to a local newspaper, claiming to be a demon from hell. He promised to kill again at 15 minutes past midnight on the night of March 19th, but would spare the occupants of any place where a jazz band was playing. That night all of New Orleans dance halls were filled to capacity, and professional and amateur bands played jazz at parties at hundreds of houses around town. There were no murders that night, leading many to believe that he had been scared off by the city's response. However, the killings continued for another several months, with the last attack occurring in October of 1919. In all, the Axeman is believed to have killed at least 6 people and injured many more during his reign of terror. And despite numerous leads and a massive manhunt, the Axeman was never caught. Some believe that he may have been a former or current resident of New Orleans, while others speculate that he may have been a transient worker or even a member of the mafia. Today, the identity of the Axeman of New Orleans remains a mystery, and his brutal crimes continue to fascinate and terrify people around the world. One of the most baffling points about the Axeman spree was how he entered the residence of his victims. It was later discovered, when no sign of entry could be surmised by the police, that he entered by chiseling small holes in their doors and walls. He somehow accomplished to fit through these impossibly tiny entrance points. They have been overlooked by the police on account that they were so small. As promised, I will now read you the actual letter of the Axeman of New Orleans. Hell, March 13, 1919, esteemed mortal, they have never caught me and they never will. They have never seen me, for I am invisible, even as the ether that surrounds your earth. I am not a human being, but a spirit and a demon from the hottest hell. I am what you Orleanians and your foolish police call the Axeman. When I see fit, I shall come and claim other victims. I alone know whom they shall be. I shall leave no clue except my bloody axe, besmeared with blood and brains of he whom I have sent below to keep me company. If you wish you may tell the police to be careful not to rile me. Of course, I am a reasonable spirit. I take no offense at the way they have conducted their investigations in the past. In fact, they have been so utterly stupid as to not only amuse me, but His Satanic Majesty, Francis Joseph, etc. But tell them to beware. Let them not try to discover what I am, for it were better that they were never born than to incur the wrath of the Axeman. I don't think there is any need of such a warning, for I feel sure the police will always dodge me, as they have in the past. They are wise and know how to keep away from all harm. Undoubtedly, You Orleanians think of me as a most horrible murderer, which I am, but I could be much worse if I wanted to. If I wished, I could pay a visit to your city every night. At will I could slay thousands of your best citizens, for I am in close relationship with the angel of death. Now, to be exact, at 12:15, earthly time, on next Tuesday night, I am going to pass over New Orleans. In my infinite mercy, I am going to make a little proposition to you people. Here it is. I am very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all the devils in the nether regions that every person shall be spared in whose home a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have just mentioned. If everyone has a jazz band going, well, then, so much the better for you people. One thing is certain, and that is that some of your people who do not jazz it out on that specific Tuesday night, if there be any, will get the axe. Well, as I am cold and crave the warmth of my native Tartarus, and it is about time I leave your earthly home, I will cease my discourse. Hoping that thou wilt publish this, that it may go well with thee, I have been, am and will be the worst spirit that ever existed either in fact or realm of fantasy, the Axeman. The letter I have just read you may sound like a joke for sure, but taking into account the brutality and randomness of his attacks, where the victims were attacked in their own homes with their own weapons, and him as well as his motive remaining unknown to this day, makes the letter a lot more terrifying than it appears at first glance. Thank you for tuning in. We provide astral travel trips to dark and mysterious lands through epic storytelling. Subscribe to journey with us.